The presenter, intriguing the audience, invites a special guest of the event to the stage. Enter Jennifer Brown, a celebrity of both national and commercial value. The girl leaves an autograph on the wall of honor and happily poses for numerous photographers. The host notices that Jennifer has not been seen in public for a long time and invites her to greet her fans. Spectators in the hall and on the streets where the live broadcast is being broadcast are happy to greet their favorite. The presenter provocatively says that Mrs. Brown is clearly missing something today. Seeing the girl's perplexed look, the man says that Mr. Miller must be very busy if he did not come with his wife. Jennifer straightens her hair and innocently remarks that she alone will be enough. After the broadcast, the assistant reports that as soon as Jennifer appeared on the screen, the broadcast instantly blew up the internet. Kira notes with a satisfied smile that there will probably be a lot of reservations this evening. Alexa, one of Jennifer's rivals, suddenly appears and sarcastically remarks that Mrs. Brown herself has graced them with her presence. Jennifer greets Alexa and notes that she still has the same obsession with taking places that do not belong to her. The rival says that Jen is very arrogant only because of the popularity of her actor husband, but everyone has long known that their marriage is fictitious. Mrs. Brown remarks that if Alexa has so much free time, it would be better to spend it on her husband rather than monitoring the lives of others. The rival reports that she heard that the couple was invited to the show in the world, There's Only You, and innocently wonders why Jennifer didn't go to it. The girl assures that Alexa has the wrong information, and their couple will take part in the reality show. Alexa leaves, saying as she goes that if Jen's husband doesn't come to the show, then it will be difficult for the girl to cope with everything alone. The guy takes careful aim, and having chosen the most successful position, pulls the pin from the grenade. The hero calmly leaves, and a deafening explosion is heard behind him. The director happily reports that everything was shot in one take and thanks Alex for his work. The director waves to the actor and reminds him that today they are having dinner with the whole team. Alex wipes the makeup off his face and says that today he won't succeed, but next time he will pay for everyone. The man mockingly asks if the actor is in such a hurry to get home. Alex waves his hand and replies that if he doesn't come back, his wife will definitely run away from him. The entire female part of the team looks at the guy with emotion, admiring his care for his wife. Fans enthusiastically greet the star and shout that they voted for her and her husband. Jennifer wishes everyone a pleasant evening with a smile and says that she needs to go home. Having closed the car door, the girl leans back exhaustedly in her chair and exhales. Kira turns around and says that the internet has exploded with rumors that Jennifer will go on the show in the world, There Is Only You, and asks in bewilderment how Mr. Miller will react to this. Jen closes her eyes and says that she is too tired. They will return to this conversation later. Looking out the window, the girl realizes that she shouldn't have argued with Alexa. Now she has gotten her husband into trouble and doesn't know how to explain everything. Alex stands on the balcony and relaxes, looking at the city sparkling with nightlights. In the bedroom, Jen unzips her dress and thinks with annoyance that she chose clothes that are too tight. Having taken off her dress, the girl wearily goes to the balcony, hoping to relax in silence. Opening the door, Jen is amazed to notice her husband sitting in a chair, who notices that his wife has returned early. The guy looks up from his papers, looks up and freezes in surprise. The couple looks at each other in bewilderment, understanding the ambiguity of the situation. Alex groans in embarrassment and covers his face with papers, realizing what an awkward position he has put his wife in. Jennifer tries to cover her naked body with her hands, her cheeks burning with shame. The girl turns away and screams that Alex shouldn't be home. Miller gets up from his chair and remarks with a grin that he returned just in time. The husband grabs Jennifer's hand as she runs away, forcing her to stop. The man throws a cloak on the girl, wraps her up but does not let her out of his arms and looks intently into her eyes. Jennifer shyly covers herself with her cloak and wonders if filming really ended so quickly. Alex looks at the papers again and explains that he took time off from filming for a while. Suddenly, Miller pins his wife against the wall and mockingly asks if she is surprised by his return to his own home. Alex says now may not be the right time, but they have an important issue to discuss. The guy points to the papers and says that their contract has not expired yet. Jennifer turns away with a sigh and asks what Alex means by this. Instead of answering, Miller bows his head and gazes into his wife's eyes. And at that moment, the girl's stomach begins to growl. Brown covers her face in embarrassment and says she hasn't eaten much in recent days to look good on the red carpet. Jen quickly runs into the shower, and Alex takes out her phone and opens the news feeds. As expected, Jennifer created a sensation, and posts with her photographs are making the top news. Hearing footsteps, Alex turns and looks in fascination at his wife, flushed after a shower. Approaching the girl, Miller removes the towel from her head and begins to carefully dry her hair. The guy notices that he read that Jen was going to participate in a reality show and asks if they should postpone the divorce. The girl begins to hastily explain that everything happened because she was angry with Alexa. The girl says that if this causes problems for her husband, she will ask the managers, and they will remove this news. Alex replies that the show team contacted him. They offer good conditions, and he doesn't mind participating. Jennifer leans with relief on the railing and asks with interest why her husband agreed. With the most serious look, Alex declares that he has some problems with money. Jennifer happily says that in this case, they really should postpone the divorce petition. The wife enthusiastically declares that in this case, they need to discuss many issues, but Alex does not let her finish. Swiftly approaching his wife, Miller hugs her tightly and begins to kiss her passionately. Sometime later, the couple finds themselves in bed, and the divorce application is in the trash. In the morning, Jennifer watches her husband and reflects that even though they have a contractual marriage, there is no clause in it that says you can't sleep together. However, the girl feels guilty for not being able to take control of the situation. Remembering the night, Jen realizes that no one in her place could resist Alex. Taking the phone, the girl tells her manager that she and her husband are going on a reality show. Jen receives an answer that yesterday, Alexa's team began spreading rumors on the internet that Miller refused to participate in the show. There are only a few stars like Jennifer who are noticeably different from the multitude of plastic and polite girls. In reality, Jen and Alexa don't even try to hide their hostility and are constantly blackmailing each other and spreading gossip. The girls had the biggest conflict over Alexa's current husband, Tom Young. 2 years ago, Jen and Tom began an affair after working together. After a while, it turned out that the guy had a girlfriend for a long time, and after a scandalous breakup with Jen, they announced their wedding. Brown was hit with a wave of hate. Fans attacked her, accusing her of being a vile homewrecker for whom nothing worked out. Only after she and Alex announced their romance did the wave of rumors subside, and gradually everything faded away. The girl reflects that thanks to his appearance, Alex was able to receive 3 prestigious awards. Although at the beginning of his career, his acting skills were so-so. Jen still doesn't understand why Alex gave her a helping hand 2 years ago. At the office, Alexa's manager is angrily aware that Jennifer and Alex have officially announced their participation in the show. Alexa is furious and realizes that the wave of rumors launched could ultimately hit her. Jumping out into the corridor, the girl comes to the conclusion that her rivals specifically agreed to filming, knowing that Alexa would be there. Tom answers a call from his wife, who reports that Jen has again decided to promote herself at their expense. The guy listens to his wife in bewilderment. He never expected that his ex would go on the same show with him. Alexa angrily declares that if her husband does not listen to her, then everyone will understand that 2 years ago, it was not about Jen, but about Tom himself. The girl decides to go out onto the balcony and get some air to calm down a little. Suddenly, Alexa looks up and her face contorts with anger. On the opposite wall hangs a huge advertising banner with a picture of Jennifer. A post on the internet that Jennifer and Alex are officially participating in the show instantly gains likes and goes to the top. The girl is getting ready for filming, and Kira reminds her that there are now cameras everywhere in the couple's house. The girl looks at herself in the mirror and says that she will try not to forget about it. A cameraman sits in the car with Jen and invites the girl to say hello to the fans. The girl waves her hand at everyone and says that she is glad to participate in the show. Kira hands Jen a box and says that she needs to have lunch on the way. The girl's face changes at the sight of vegetables. The operator immediately asks if she misses her husband. Turning around, the girl asks in bewilderment, "Who needs Alex anyway?" Kira coughs loudly, and Jennifer realizes that she is being shown live. Confused, the star begins to mutter something inaudibly, trying to get out of a stupid situation. The operator changes the subject and says that the theme of the first episode is a surprise and asks what the girl would like to receive from her husband. The girl thinks that in a contractual marriage, she cannot make demands on Alex as a real husband. Looking into the camera, the star declares that Alex is alive and well, and this is already the biggest gift for her. Noticing that everyone has gone silent, Jennifer is afraid that her words lacked sincerity. The cameraman and Kira look at the girl with emotion and say that these are the most beautiful words they have ever heard. The girls enter the elevator. Jennifer looks at the news feed with interest. The star is happy to note that a quote from her words made it to the very top. Kira confidently declares that, as she expected, with one phrase, Mrs. Brown threw all the efforts of her enemies down the top. The assistant anxiously says that tomorrow is a live broadcast and that Mr. Miller will have to be handled by Jennifer herself. Jen's imagination immediately runs wild, and she imagines how awkward she would be on air alone. The girl leaves the elevator. Kira says goodbye to her and once again reminds her about the cameras in the house. Approaching her door, Jen thinks that if she can convince Alex to buy the earliest flight for tomorrow, she can still save everything. Opening the door, the girl suddenly comes face to face with Alex. Pointing to the suitcase, the husband reports that he was just getting ready to leave. Jen angrily snatches her suitcase and asks if Miller really wants to leave her alone on air. Alex asks for forgiveness, but he needs to make up for lost time, and there is no way he can stay. In the control room, the operators notice that Mrs. Brown is angry and looks very scary. Alex thoughtfully says that, in fact, he may well have time to return. Looking at his wife, Miller continues that this will happen if Jen pampers him. The girl blushes heavily and looks at her husband in amazement, wondering if she had misheard. In the control room, everyone was glued to the screens in anticipation of the scandalous development of events. Jennifer angrily shouts that Alex might not even dream about it. Jen puts on light makeup and sets up her phone for the live broadcast. The girl waves her hand to everyone and regretfully reports that Miller is not at home today, so they must fly to the top without him. Seeing the comments coming in one after another, the star moves her face closer to the screen to see better. In the comments, fans write that the girl incredibly seduces them with her beautiful face. Jen jumps away from the screen in fright and sheepishly says that she won't approach the camera like that again. A message from the manager pops up on the phone screen saying that you need to thank the fans for the virtual gifts. The girl begins to thank the fans, simultaneously answering incoming questions. Suddenly, comments of a very immodest content begin to come from some fan. Jen covers her face with her hand in embarrassment. Meanwhile, at the airport, Alex watches his wife's broadcast with interest. Suddenly, the guy comes across comments that their relationship looks fake. Alex posts on his page that he is in a hurry to get home as fast as he can. Continuing the broadcast, Jen says that her waterproof makeup must first be moistened with micellar water, otherwise wrinkles may appear due to friction. Deciding that it's stupid to just stand in front of the camera, the girl asks the speaker to play cheerful music. Jen begins to dance happily, thinking that she can handle everything just fine without Alex. Entering the apartment, Miller is surprised to hear loud music coming from the bathroom. Opening the door, the guy sees his wife dancing merrily, who does not notice him. The song ends and the girl goes to the phone to read the comments. Having read from fans that her husband is standing at the door, at night, Miller approaches his wife and says that it's time to go to bed, but Jen resolutely declares that she will sleep on the sofa. The husband remarks that he should be somewhere else now, but returned home, and Jen is again unhappy. The girl shouts in anger that her husband should have warned her about returning, but now she is embarrassed. Alex calmly says that in front of an audience of 1,000, the girl felt normal, but with him there were probably different rules. Jennifer thoughtfully asks if Miller wants to accuse her of double standards. The guy calmly looks at his wife and replies that this is exactly what he means. At night, lying in bed, Jen can't stand it and asks Alex why he came back. Turning to her husband, the girl declares that she could actually cope without him. Alex answers with a sigh that his wife has ensured that the entire top search list is filled with requests only about her. Pouting, Jen tells her husband not to put off work because of her anymore. She will still fulfill the plan. When Alex doesn't answer, Jen turns and asks what he's thinking about. Looking at his wife, Miller thought that she looked like a cat, just as proud and lonely, but when she got close, she took it as a handout. With Jen's appearance, it's easy for her to mislead people into doing what she wants. Suddenly, the husband asks if the girl knows why dogs are closer to people than cats, but they still love the latter. The wife turns around in bewilderment and states that if Alex wants to get a cat, it's a bad idea because there will be fur everywhere. Miller says with a laugh that hair in the bathroom is no comparison to wool. At the club, Director Wen invites Alex to try tea that was brought from the West. Van worked on the film, which lifted Miller up when he was still a rookie and became not only a mentor to him, but also a friend. Another director, Kevin, tells him that he has an amazing contract and invites the guy to take a look at it. Van remarks with a grin that they met as friends, and there is no need to talk about work. Alex replies that Kevin has drama in the project, and he's not good at it, so he's afraid of ruining everything. Suddenly, Kevin remembers that Miller's wife specializes in drama and asks if she would be interested in this project. Alex politely advises the director to contact his wife's managers because she is categorically against her husband helping her in her career. Walking down the corridor, Alex thought about the fact that Jennifer doesn't like to bother others and always solves problems alone. The guy also remembers that his wife never wanted to have anything to do with him. Miller enters the house and is immediately greeted by a joyful Jen. Alex looks at his wife in amazement and doesn't understand whether he got there. Jennifer continues to smile sweetly and declares that she brought slippers for her husband. Alex notices his wife's light makeup and the camera on the nightstand. In the control room, the director doubles over with laughter, saying that Alex is probably expecting some trick from his wife. Meanwhile, Miller's wife sits him down on the couch, noting that he's been working all day and must be very tired. Having refused the massage, Alex says that he would rather go to the bedroom and rest a little. Turning to the camera, Jen says that her husband clearly doesn't like what she's doing. The director replies that the girl needs to behave more casually. The voice invites Jen to watch broadcasts of other couples, such as Alexa and Tom. The director suggests that Alex might be embarrassed by the cameras and invites the girl to pretend that she is turning them off. Jen sighs tiredly and says she'll try again. The girl enters the room and, under the gaze of her husband, pointedly turns off the camera. The wife admits that they confuse her all day long, and since it's already evening, it's quite possible to turn them off. Alex reaches out to take a piece of fruit, but Jen deftly removes the plate. The wife hands a piece to Alex and playfully says that she will feed him herself. Then the girl asks to feed her, and the husband happily falls for his wife's trick. Jen puts her hand to her cheek and sweetly says that when her brother feeds her, it's incredibly delicious. Alex closes his eyes in horror and asks what word his wife called him. The girl declares that if her husband does not like the word brother, then she can call him hubby. Miller opens his mouth to say what he thinks, but pulls himself together and declares that his wife can call him whatever she wants. Jen cuddles up to the guy, repeating nicknames in different ways, and playfully says that she wants a berry. Suddenly, Alex throws his wife onto the bed, holds her hands, and asks what she wanted to achieve by turning off the cameras. Miller puts his hand on Jen's leg in no uncertain terms and begins to slowly climb up. Unable to bear it, the girl begins to scream for her husband to calm down because she did not turn off the camera. The director orders everyone to urgently make a trailer for the program for tomorrow. Alex wearily presses her hand to her forehead and asks why her wife did this. Jen guiltily explains that it's all for the sake of the show. The director said that the guy is shy in front of the cameras. The husband sighs heavily and mutters that it's all his own fault. Jen asks her husband not to blame her. Alex picks berries and says that he didn't think she was guilty. The wife does not lag behind and asks if her husband is angry, to which he replies that he is not. Jen admits that she was sure that the guy wouldn't like what she called him. Turning off the camera, the girl relaxes and admits that she wanted to address him as an elder. Turning around, Alex replies that even when his wife is 80, she will still remain a little thing for him. After watching the news, Alexa throws her phone and reminds Tom that he promised to listen to her. Jennifer passionately convinces her husband that she does not hate Alexa and Tom, but will trample them with great pleasure. Alex looks with pleasure at his wife, who assures him that he must help her using all his acting talent. Suddenly, Miller looks seriously at the girl and notices that 2 years have passed, and she still hasn't forgotten Tom. Jennifer, thinking that her husband is referring to the hate that fell upon her, passionately declares that of course she cannot forget. Alex silently turns to the window. Jen asks what's wrong with him and hopes that he's not offended. Miller asks if he might not be offended that his wife considers him a thing to achieve her goals. Jennifer states that if her husband doesn't like it, then he doesn't have to help her and don't come today. The girl thinks that Miller is behaving strangely again. If he promised to come, he must keep his promises. Jen irritably thinks that Alex doesn't know a damn thing, because it wasn't him that the entire internet called names 2 years ago. Alex replies that in this case, he has no desire to help. In a restaurant, spouses sit at different tables and try hard to pretend not to notice each other. They bring the shrimp that the establishment is famous for, and Jen pounces on them with great appetite. Clarice, looking at the girl, begins to cough demonstratively, making it clear that this is simply unacceptable. The director states that if Jen eats one, another will follow, and then it turns out that she ate a whole mountain overnight. The star listens to the fact that tomorrow the director will ban her from the gym and will not let her out for 3 hours. At the next table, the film crew is happily celebrating the end of a successful day. Alex keeps company, drinks from a can, glancing sideways at his wife. In the car, a somewhat intoxicated Jennifer tells Kira that she feels very bad. The girl says that she is a star and has a lot of money. She buys brand clothes but cannot eat some cheap shrimp. Looking at herself on the phone, Jen doesn't understand who can call her fat. She doesn't have a single extra gram. In the elevator, Kira carefully asks if Jen needs hangover pills, but she assures her that she is not that drunk. The doors open and Jen looks in surprise at Alexa and Tom standing there. Tom looks back at his wife in fear, but Alexa looks at her rival with a grin. The guy invites the girl to wait for the next one, but she replies that the elevator does not belong to Jennifer. Jen exits the elevator and, to Kira's surprise, follows directly behind the couple. Alexa turns around and angrily asks how Jennifer can be so annoying. Jen says with a grin that hundreds of people hate her, so her opponent will have to stand in line. Jen notes that she is the winner in the vote. Alexa and Tom are not so popular that they can be used for PR. Alexa screams in rage that she knows what the relationship is between her and her husband, so it's time to end this farce. Jen hates to hear that Alexa feels sorry for Miller because the show will make his wife look like he's a complete failure in a relationship. Jennifer asks what Alexa will say about her husband because he sends Jen very ambiguous messages on air. Now Alexa listens with displeasure that because of her love, she does not understand that Tom is not as good as he wants to seem. Jennifer declares that she will tell Alexa a little secret, which is that Miller is hundreds of times better than Tom. Jen points her finger at Tom and declares that she is not crazy enough to leave Alex just to annoy her rival. Alexa screams that Jen's marriage is a sham, so there's no point in her husband's virtues. Jennifer smirks and asks who told Alexa such nonsense. The girl states that after a night with Alex, it takes her 3 days to come to her senses and asks with a grin if Tom can do the same. The husband drags away the screaming Alexa, and Jennifer laughs victoriously after them. Walking proudly along the corridor, the girl looks up and is surprised to notice Alex's figure. The guy heads to the door of the apartment and looks at his wife somewhat dumbfounded. Entering the apartment, Jen, with an independent air, asks how long ago her husband has been back. Alex looks at his wife with a grin and replies that he returned a couple of minutes ago. The girl wonders what the likelihood is that Miller heard her last phrase. Deciding that there is no point in guessing, Jen directly asks her husband if he heard the conversation. Miller turns on the actor and asks with interest if he needed to hear. The wife looks at Alex carefully and explains that she had a fight with her rival. Miller approaches the girl, takes her glasses, and declares that he heard everything. The guy abruptly knocks Jen off her feet and throws her onto the sofa, hanging on top. The girl looks intently at her husband and impudently wonders whether he is a man or not. Alex is stunned by his wife's sudden question and waits in bewilderment for the continuation. The girl states that if the husband is a man, he should have pretended that he did not hear any conversation. Alex sits up abruptly, takes out a bag, and says that he brought shrimp to the girl. Jen, having forgotten about all the grievances, happily starts eating. His head. 2 years ago, Alex walked into the locker room and found Jennifer crying bitterly. The wife upsetly replies that everyone's hearts are too fragile in their youth. Alex says that if Jen's feelings are in the past, then there is nothing to worry about. The husband covers his wife with a blanket and says that it is too late and they should go to bed. Jen looms over Alex and states that 2 years ago she cried with rage. The girl explains that Tom started an affair with her, hiding the fact that he was in a relationship, and as a result, their couple got married, and she herself was cursed by the entire internet. Jen says she wanted to tear Tom apart in her rage, but managers dissuaded her, saying that by doing so, she would only make things worse. Lying next to her husband, Jen looks into his eyes and asks if he believes her. The guy quietly says that of course he believes. He knew about everything from the very beginning. Suddenly, Jen turns awkwardly and falls off the bed onto the floor. Rubbing the bruised area, the girl angrily tells her husband that there is nothing funny about this. The husband carefully puts his wife on the bed and asks if she was badly hurt, but the girl assures that everything is fine. Jen clings to her husband and asks him not to tell anyone anything, so as not to make waves on the internet again. Alex notes that it must be very difficult when such a wave of negativity hits. Having calmed down, Jen cheerfully says that she still has many more loving fans. At the next filming, the presenter welcomes the participants of the reality show and invites them to start the classic game. Jennifer, caught in the excitement, vigorously waves her arms, trying to explain the hidden word to Alex. After thinking a little, Miller confidently declares that his wife is showing him a chicken. The presenter turns the sheet over, and Jen looks at the next word in bewilderment. The girl waves her hand, says that it is too difficult, and asks to show the next word. The audience cheerfully shouts that you cannot break the rules and miss words. With her hands folded across her chest, the star declares that she is participating in the show, not the audience. Alex looks thoughtfully at his wife, and then confidently declares that she is showing a coquette. After winning the competition, Jen leaves the stage, declaring that she needs to rest. In the next competition, couples need to show scenes from films. Jen receives a script in which the plot is a brother and sister who are forbidden to love each other. The girl asks the director whether the kiss should be real, to which she replies that everything is at the discretion of the actors. Jennifer finishes getting dressed when there is a knock on the door, and she is informed that it is time to go on stage. On stage, the couple quickly gets into character and begins to act out their scene from the film. Finishing the episode, Alex presses the girl against the wall and covers him with himself, not making it clear whether the couple is showing a real kiss. At the end of the scene, the host runs up to the actors and asks Miller if he got his kiss. The guy is silent for a while, and then, to the disappointment of the audience, he admits that there was no kiss. The host announces that each participant in the show brought a memorable gift for him, and the audience must guess who owns this or that item. The assistants bring out the first item, and the host invites fans to find out how well they know their favorites. The blanket is removed, and a picture of grenades appears before the audience. The audience shouts joyfully that the thing belongs to Jennifer. The girl asks if Alex really brought her painting here, but the husband assures that it is not the one hanging in their house. Alexa approaches the painting and declares that the one-of-a-kind work belongs to her and Tom. The girl says that this expensive painting was a gift from her husband for their wedding. The presenter asks in bewilderment why then the fans mistook it for Mrs. Brown's thing. Alexa, surprised, reports that she did not know that there was a copy of the painting. The girl offers to remove the painting from the competition, saying that she could not have imagined such an incident. In the car, Jen angrily says that her dad gave her the original painting and all the fans saw it during the broadcast. Kira reports that Clarice ordered to speed up the PR campaign because there is a high probability that the sensation could be leaked online. But Jen doesn't hear anything. She says that she urgently needs to contact the appraisers so that they don't blame her for a fake. At home, the girl thinks with irritation that while she has problems, Alex remains calm and minds his own business. In the morning, the girl first asks if Alex has looked online and what they write about her problem, but her husband calmly suggests they have breakfast first. Jen pushes her plate away and states that she has no appetite at all. She needs to clear things up first. Alex says he contacted the artist's official representative directly, so the situation is completely resolved. The wife looks with amazement at her husband's post, in which he posted a response from the artist's representatives. The girl looks at her husband in confusion and cannot believe that he did such a thing for her sake. Miller tenderly runs his finger over Jen's face and says that he is not an angel, but just her husband. The girl looks at her husband. He contacted her father, requested certification, and wrote a refutation. Not every PR team can handle everything so quickly. Alex yawns, and Jen understands that he stayed up all night for her sake. It's obvious that she was mistaken about him and was offended in vain. The girl quite sincerely asks for forgiveness from her husband. The girl smugly declares that she has enough money, so she wants to adequately thank her husband, but he assures that he does not need money. Jen cheerfully asks what he wants then, wondering if he will ask for a kiss. Alex rubs his chin thoughtfully and asks him to kiss him as a thank you. The wife immediately stands up and leans in to kiss her husband, but he moves away. With a laugh, the guy asks why his wife is so obedient today. The angry girl shouts that Miller won't get any more kisses, and she goes to wash herself. In the bathroom, Jen realizes that she is incredibly angry, but sometimes she herself does not understand her feelings. Having returned, the girl asks her husband if he really doesn't want anything, to which he nods in the affirmative. Looking in the mirror, Jen wonders why she's so disappointed that Alex didn't ask her for anything in return. Suddenly, the husband enters the bathroom and gently kisses his wife on the cheek. Alex states that even if he wanted gratitude, he would not ask for it. Jen is his wife, and he does not need a reason for a kiss. Clarice tells Jen that during the boy band's audition, in addition to the director and representatives of the channel, one more guest is expected. Then Jennifer notices Kelly Smith, a young member of a popular girl group, standing in front. The girl waves her hand to the singer, but she pretends not to notice her and passes by. The girls look after the young singer in bewilderment, noticing that just a year ago, she was Jen's most ardent fan. Jennifer says that Kelly is simply basking in the glory, because now she is accepted with open arms everywhere. A little later, Clarice introduces the girls to Mr. Jacob, a representative of the corporation. Suddenly, Jen asks Kelly if her throat is okay. Kelly assures her that everything is fine, and Jen remarks with a smile that the girl must have forgotten to put on her contacts. Otherwise, she would have responded to her greeting. The embarrassed singer assures that she really forgot about the lenses and will be more careful next time. Mr. Jacob states that during the program, the girls need to show their sisterhood. It will create a real sensation. Clarice coldly tells Kelly that if her eyesight is bad, she should take a vacation and get surgery before she gets into an even stupider situation. The singer is completely embarrassed, asks for forgiveness, and assures that this will not happen again. Clarice turns to Jacob and suggests not to waste time. Filming will begin soon. In the office, Clarice wearily says that Jen shouldn't have started a fight in front of Jacob, because the corporation is very interested in Kelly. Jen looks at the director with resentment and asks if she herself didn't support her. Clarice honestly says that Jen is her biggest money tree, and she will never sacrifice her affection for Kelly. Suddenly, the director invites the girl to talk to Alex. Perhaps he will also agree to be an invited guest. Jen admits that even if she asks, her husband may not agree. Clarice asks the girl to resolve the issue and call her in the evening. In the car, Kira wonders if Jennifer has talked to Alex about his participation in the show. Jen turns to her husband and says that since he has heard everything, would he be willing to accept such an offer? Alex looks thoughtfully at the phone and reports that he didn't hear anything. Turning to his wife, Miller asks why she always uses others to ask him things. The host welcomes everyone to the new episode of the reality show For Your Sake. Jennifer looks at her image in the mirror, and Kira reports that she looks simply incredible. The girl takes a selfie, sends the photo to Alex, and gives the phone to the assistant. The message is sent successfully, and the girl asks Kira to keep an eye on the phone. The host offers to welcome Kelly back to be the new mentor on the show. The man invites everyone to be patient and welcome the secret invited guest. Introducing Jennifer, the presenter says that thanks to her roles in classic films, she is increasing her popularity from year to year. Kelly finishes her acceptance routine and receives a standing ovation from the audience. Turning to Jen, the singer declares that the girl is the main invited guest, so why shouldn't she demonstrate her talent? A puzzled Jennifer looks at the girl and wonders if her words are part of the show. Kelly confidently says that this was not in the script. But why shouldn't the main star please his fans? Jen understands that going on stage without preparation is very risky, and this is exactly what Kelly wants. The singer does not calm down and persistently invites the star to dance in freestyle to a random song. Jennifer gives in and says that if the girl asks her to do so, then she will have to meet her halfway. Entering the stage, Jen hears the music and, casting aside all doubts, surrenders to the sense of rhythm and performs a beautiful dance. The girl finishes her performance. The audience in the hall simply explodes with delight. During the break, Kelly stands at the door of the dressing room, displeased to hear the assistants discussing Mrs. Brown's wonderful dance. Jennifer approaches the singer and declares that she is great. She was famously able to change the script. Embarrassed, Kelly states that she didn't do this on purpose. She just gave the director an idea. Turning to the director, Jen angrily declares that such impromptu performances should be warned against. The man admits that he did not want to put the star in an awkward position, but was afraid of angering Miss Smith because she has many influential connections. Jennifer thoughtfully says that now everything is clear to her. Why fight your way on your own if you can rely on connections? Young John Brown takes the stage and greets the show's mentors. Jen waves politely back, wondering to herself what her brother is doing here. John says he heard from his dad about his sister's difficulties, so he advises her to ignore him and mind her own business. Late in the evening, a girl admires the city at night and wonders why her husband has not come yet. Hearing the noise, Jen opens the door and asks why Alex is so late, and he is surprised that the girl is still awake. The guy says that he went to a bar for a drink with a friend, glancing at the camera and wondering if they were turned off. Alex goes into the bedroom, and Jen goes to his phone to see if he saw a message from her with a photo. Undressing, Miller goes out into the living room and is perplexed to see that his wife is rummaging through his phone. Jen shows the screen and angrily says that her husband does not answer her messages, but secretly puts her photo on the screensaver. The girl boastfully declares that even Alex's constant screensaver has given way to such a beautiful photograph. Miller looks at his wife and thinks that her powers of observation are excellent, but her ability to draw conclusions is let down. Suddenly the phone beeps. Jen hands it to her husband and says that he has a message. The husband reads thoughtfully, and the girl comes up and asks who is writing to him so late. Alex hands his wife the phone and says that Kelly Smith is writing to him and asks his wife to sort this out herself. The wife thoughtfully asks if her husband is sure of the request, because it will certainly bring the girl to tears. Alex says with a laugh that before his wife did not need his approval in order to scold others. Jen declares that she is not averse to settling scores with Kelly, but is afraid that her uncle may be behind her. But Alex assures that the director of the corporation is protecting the girl. Miller did not expect that the director would be so keen on the singer that he would even give her his personal number. Jen realizes that Kelly most likely had her sights set on Alex from the very beginning, and now she has a chance to find out everything. The girl accepts the singer's request on social networks, and immediately messages from her begin to arrive non-stop. Jennifer reads Kelly's glowing messages and is annoyed that she's going overboard. Across town, Kelly is excited to see she receives a call from Alex Miller. Having answered the call, the girl affectionately greets her idol. After interrupting the singer, Jennifer declares that it is indecent to write to other people's husbands at such a late time. The girl angrily remarks that just because she doesn't have a patron doesn't mean she'll let Kelly walk all over her head. Jen notes that if a singer travels at the expense of connections, then she should not take this as a reason for bragging. Hearing that Kelly demands to back up the accusations with something, Alex calmly remarks that his words should be enough as evidence. Alex covers his wife and asks Kelly to tell the director that he cannot accept his filming proposals. Jennifer claims that Kelly has disturbed their nightlife with her messages. The singer apologizes and hangs up. The wife hands her husband the phone and happily says that the caller hung up. Alex takes a towel and says that in this case he will go to the shower to get ready. His wife asks in bewilderment why. Turning, Miller innocently announces that he will go get ready for their nightlife. Jen blushes deeply. Her husband really went to the shower, which means it's time to fulfill his marital duty. Clarice notices that Kelly's popularity is growing too quickly, so she doesn't know what she's doing. The director asks if Jen remembers the couture dress she chose for the upcoming charity event. The woman says that Kelly came to this boutique and wanted to try on this particular dress, but representatives of the brand refused her. Jen tells Kira to turn around immediately and tells her that it's time for them to go to the fitting. In the boutique, the girl asks the saleswoman what other dresses besides this one did Miss Smith ask for to try on. Taking a selfie, Jen says that she would like to try on those 2 dresses and asks for Kelly to choose something else. The saleswoman says that she needs to make one call and the dresses will be delivered to Mrs. Brown right away. Kira gives her a thumbs up and says that Jen is cool. They want to take 1 dress away from her, and in return, she takes 2. After receiving a photo from Jennifer in a chic dress, Kelly breaks the phone in a rage. At home, the girl happily reads the admiring comments under the post with her dance. Leaving the bedroom, Jen bumps into Alex, who says that he returned a couple of hours ago, but decided that his wife was sleeping and decided not to disturb her. Jennifer innocently wonders if her husband has seen the top popular searches, but Miller is surprised and asks which one his wife means. The wife waves her hand indifferently and declares that it doesn't matter, nothing special. In the control room, the director yawns. The couple spent the whole day apart, no material for broadcast. Suddenly, the assistant announces that he noticed something interesting and shows a close-up shot. The director cries with joy and orders the material to be unloaded immediately. The couple sits down in front of the phone, starts broadcasting, and greets their fans. Jen whispers to her husband that he needs to thank the fans for the gifts. Suddenly, the girl notices that an obsessive fan with intimate questions has again appeared in the comments. The wife tells Alex that they need to ignore such questions, otherwise their broadcast may be blocked. One of the fans asks if the couple saw the clip that was just aired and advises them to watch it. In the cut under the title of How Alex Miller Spends His Time, a frame appears where he is looking at a video of his wife dancing. The commentator says that the husband likes all the comments that praise his wife and bans all the negative ones. Alex blushes piercingly and doesn't know how to react to the video he watched. Lying in bed, Jen asks if her husband didn't tell her that he didn't see the top requests. Miller asks why his wife didn't show him the video of the dance. Was she really shy? Jen demands not to change the subject and asks why her husband was watching her video. Having sat down on the guy, the girl asks why he watched the video several times and liked the comments. Alex replies that Jen is his wife, so the interest is understandable, but the girl replies that this is not an excuse because their marriage is fictitious. Suddenly, Miller grabs Jen by the waist and says that if she doesn't get off him, the marriage will no longer be a sham. Sharply turning the girl over onto the bed, Alex begins to tickle her, making his wife choke with laughter. Jen notices that the last time her husband put her photo on his screensaver, he didn't say anything either. The girl looks at the guy flirtatiously and asks if he really is her fan. On the set, the couple is asked to name the films of the spouses that made the greatest impression on them. Jen thoughtfully says that if she had to choose one, she would undoubtedly choose The End of the Road. Alex, without hesitation, says that he chooses the Imperial Broken Jade phase. The girl looks at her husband in surprise. Did he really watch the film? The presenter announces that in 2 days, the couple will have to perform a scene using the films they named as a basis. Looking through the script, Jen is puzzled and says that there is not a single female role in it. Turning to her husband, the girl says that she has played in many films and wonders why he chose that one. Alex says with a grin that it was that film that made the deepest impression on him. Miller turns on the TV, and one of the scenes from the film starring Jen appears on the screen. The girl grabs the remote control and turns off the TV. Alex asks in bewilderment what's the matter. The wife admits that she cannot play it, so that everything worked out last time. She had to do a lot of psychological work. Alex notes that if it worked last time, it will work this time too, and asks if his wife doubts herself. Jen thinks desperately that of course she doubts it because the movie's plot is so embarrassing. Miller suggests his wife rehearse if she's that worried. The husband turns off the camera and says that now we can ignore it. The director looks at the black screen in bewilderment. The couple doesn't think about ratings at all. Finishing the rehearsal, Alex gently hugs his wife and presses her to him. Jen states that her husband is doing everything wrong. In the last scene, he should have pushed her away. Miller thoughtfully reports that he is hardly suitable for the role of a Taoist monk. The wife pats the guy on the shoulder and says that he plays the role of painful abstinence very convincingly. Jen reads the comments discussing the explicit film and thinks with annoyance that she is a decent actress. Jennifer and Alex appear at a charity banquet to everyone's admiration. The couple is greeted by Mr. Roberts and remarks that Mrs. Brown is simply charming today. The man says that he has a great script, but Jennifer replies that she is not ready for the big screen. She still has a lot to learn. The couple sits down at a table. Mrs. Young walks by and greets her acquaintances. Alexa looks at Alexa and notices that they haven't seen each other for a long time. Leaning towards Jen, Alexa asks on what basis she has the right to sit at this table. The girl calmly replies that she is here with her invited husband. Jen drinks champagne and calmly notes that, unlike Alexa, she has someone to rely on. The rival looks at the girl in rage, but still cannot find the words for a worthy answer. On stage, the host asks Kelly if there are any celebrities in the audience that she would like to work with. Miss Smith looks around the room thoughtfully and says that she dreams of working with Jennifer Brown. Jen waves her hand, thinking that she always considered the singer's attention to be rude flattery. Kelly states that she admires Mrs. Brown's dancing, and if she had the opportunity, she would happily dance with her. Jennifer, realizing what the catch is, shows that her dress is uncomfortable for dancing. The girl declares that she would rather learn the dance at home and then show everyone her homework. Sitting in the VIP box, Derek Brown carefully observes what is happening in the hall. The man thinks that if Jennifer had behaved differently, he could have called her upstairs to say hello. At this time, the girl watches a video from the performance of the Kelly group, wondering what kind of style they have. Suddenly, Jen receives a message from Uncle Derek, who advises her to be more respectful of her family instead of dancing. The girl affectionately cuddles up to her husband and argues that they are husband and wife, therefore they should help each other. Realizing that all this is not just like that, Alex is interested in what happened. The wife silently picks up the phone and shows her husband a message and says that he either needs to help her with choreography or see his uncle. Alex looks at his wife with mockery and declares that he definitely won't help with the dancing. Taking her husband's arm, Jen says that they need to warn Kira. As soon as they see their uncle, they will go home. The girl pushes Miller in the back and says that if he comes in first, it will be inconvenient for his uncle to swear. Suddenly, Jen announces that she urgently needs to fix her makeup and runs towards the ladies' room. Derek remarks that Miller has done a good job over the years, to which Alex replies that it's all thanks to Mr. Brown. Brown mockingly notes that the guy's words sound too flattering. Alex says that if the ceremony is over, he would like to know what his uncle wanted to talk to his wife about. Derek coldly asks Miller not to meddle in their purely family matters. Alex replies that he is not interested in family affairs, but Jen is his wife, so he is obliged to protect her. Without hiding a contemptuous smile, Brown asks if Miller is strong enough to save the girl. Alex notes that 2 years ago he, unlike Mr. Brown, was able to do this. Derek notices in surprise that his son-in-law is no longer the naive young man he was 10 years ago. Suddenly, Miller receives a message in which Jen writes that she has encountered an infection and cannot get rid of it. In the ladies' room, Alexa angrily asks why Jen is still here and receives the same question in response. Alexa grabs the girl's hand and angrily asks why she accompanied her husband to the second floor. Jen pulls her hand away and remarks that her dress is too uncomfortable for a fight, so she should save that for another time. Alexa has a hard time admitting that Jen is stronger and more beautiful than her, but her personal life shouldn't interfere with work matters. Jennifer interrupts her rival, surprised by her words, but Alexa shouts that she hasn't finished yet. Mrs. Young asks to leave her husband alone and asks if Jen really wants to get the status of a mistress again. Jen sighs tiredly and repeats for the umpteenth time that when she got into a relationship with Tom, he assured her that he was lonely. Alexa does not believe her rival's words and says that this simply cannot happen. Jen openly tells the girl that Tom is a coward and a scoundrel who uses women for his own purposes. Alexa suspiciously asks what Jen is doing here in this case, but the girl replies that the VIP floor does not belong only to Tom. Alexa says that Tom went up to the VIP floor, and Jen immediately followed, so it would be stupid to deny that she wanted to meet him secretly. Losing her patience, Jen turns abruptly and storms out of the restroom. Going to her uncle, the girl declares that he has the key to all the VIP rooms and asks him to give it to her. Derek looks at his niece in surprise and coldly remarks that it wouldn't hurt to say hello first. Jen presses her hands to her chest and says that she needs the key to prove that she is not a mistress. So will her uncle really refuse to help? Mr. Brown immediately asks who dared to call the girl a mistress. Jen grabs her uncle's hand and wonders how such a determined man can get confused at the most crucial moment. Alex sighs mockingly as he observes his wife's typical behavior. Derek explodes and shouts that he is the girl's uncle, and she doesn't dare talk to him in that tone. Suddenly, Alex turns to his wife and asks what she's going to do after receiving the key. Jennifer resolutely declares that she must catch the scoundrel red-handed. As Jen quickly walks down the hallway, she notices that Alexa seems to really love her husband. Mrs. Young admits that she was mistaken about the girl, but does not understand what she is up to now. Jennifer comes to the door, puts a finger to her lips, and asks for silence. Quietly opening the door, the girls hear a woman's voice asking who the man loves more, Jennifer or Alexa. In the VIP room, Tom, in a very frank manner, tells the girl that he has been with Alexa for 6 or 7 years, since they studied together. Young admits that he likes Jen too, and since she left him after finding out about Alex, he is even more attracted to her. Alexa desperately holds back her sobs as she listens to how the couple needs to finish quickly because Tom has to go. The lover asks in surprise why they can't meet at the hotel, to which Young replies that it's much safer here. Alexa is shaking in pain, and Jen hugs her and asks her for her phone. Turning on the camera, the girl states that the evidence will be useful to Alexa in the future. Jen assures that this video will be the end of Tom, but suddenly Alexa tries to take the phone from her. Turning around, Jen declares that she is helping her rival obtain irrefutable evidence and asks Alexa not to infect her with her love stupidity. Mrs. Young shouts that Jen doesn't understand anything, and if Alex cheated on her, she would behave even worse. The girl resolutely declares that then she would immediately castrate her husband because you cannot forgive scum because of love. Alexa silently watches what her husband is doing and realizes that Jen's words have sunk into her soul. In a fit of rage, the girl forcefully throws open the door and looks at her husband. Instantly losing all determination, Alexa falls to her knees and begins to sob loudly. Jen is disgusted to hear Tom assure his wife that the girl hit on him first. Young insists that he just wanted to have a little fun and loves no one more than his wife. Entering the room, Jennifer says that she finally realized what kind of nonsense Tom was telling his wife 2 years ago. Swinging, the girl slaps Young in the face with all her might. Jen rubs her hand and declares that she is here to stop the bastard from brainwashing Alexa again. The girl wearily returns to her uncle's room and silently places the key on the table. Turning sharply, Jen waves at her uncle and is about to leave, but Derek stops her by asking if she was able to figure out the problem. The girl smugly declares that since she is a stronghold of morality, solving the problem was as easy as shelling pears. Suddenly, Jen bows her head and sincerely thanks her uncle for giving her the key. The man looks at his niece in surprise. This girl has always treated him without respect, and now she suddenly thanks him. Jen immediately states that it was an emergency, but from now on, she does not intend to use her uncle to solve her problems. Derek sighs. His niece finally looks like her old self. Brown waves at the girl, encourages her to continue her career, and reminds her to visit her grandfather in her free time. Relieved that she managed to avoid another scandal, Jennifer happily waves the man goodbye. In the parking lot, Alexa approaches Jen and says that she has contacted the managers, and as soon as they settle everything, she will leak the news about Tom. The girl says that she decided to warn Jen that she might also be caught up in this in light of past events. Suddenly, Alexa says that Jen should be happy with the whole situation. The girl honestly answers that she is not particularly happy, and if you choose between her and Tom, then she hates him more. Mrs. Young's eyes fill with tears, and she admits that she still loves her husband very much. Alexa states that Jen can't understand her because she doesn't love her husband that much, which is why she said those pretentious words then. The amazed Jennifer tries to explain that her rival is wrong and draws hasty conclusions. Alexa is furious and asks what Jen would do if she caught Alex cheating today. Realizing that pain is clouding Alexa's eyes, Jennifer advises her to sort out her affairs. The girl warns that if Alexa decides to turn the tables, she will go down with Tom. As she leaves, Mrs. Brown says that she believes her husband, His love is so great that there is no room in his heart for another. Sitting in the car, Jennifer looks at her sleeping husband and thinks that he is not at all like Tom. The girl hovers over Alex and whispers that if he is not sleeping, then he should open his eyes. Miller slowly turns his head to his wife and says that her gaze woke him up. Annoyed, Jennifer sarcastically apologizes for waking her husband. Alex says that it's okay, because he loves his wife so much that there is no room in his heart for another. The guy laughs loudly, and Jennifer shouts that no one allowed him to eavesdrop. Sitting on the bed, Jen wonders if she can be sure that Alex will not cheat on her. Miller hands his wife a cup and asks what she is thinking so intently about. In a rage, Jen begins to scream that she is sick of today's situation, and she really regrets that she ever got involved with such a scumbag. The wife explains that she was able to teach Tom a lesson and opened Alexa's eyes. Suddenly, Alex asks with a grin what will happen if he really does the same as Yang. Jen admits that their marriage is not real, and if her husband meets someone, he should immediately say so and not give a reason to teach him a lesson. Jen can't sleep for a long time, thinking that her words sounded like approval of betrayal. Realizing that everything needs to be clarified completely, the girl turns on the light and wakes up Alex. Jen firmly says that even though they have a contract marriage, the husband cannot be with anyone else until the contract expires. The wife says she doesn't want to interfere in Miller's life, but she believes it is important to respect mutual obligations. After listening to what his wife had to say, Alex suddenly hugs her and hugs her tightly. The guy buries his hand in the girl's hair and asks why she says so many unnecessary words. Jen listens with surprise that all she had to do was say that she forbids her husband to cheat. Suddenly, the girl hears Alex laughing and angrily asks what she said so funny. Miller takes his wife by the hand and calmly promises that there will be no betrayal on his part. In the morning, Jen angrily says into the phone that Alexa should think about the consequences. Tom simply doesn't know about the evidence, so he started showing his teeth. Reading the news, the girl states that Young will not repent because Alexa is being too soft-hearted. Miller is surprised to read Alexa's post that she asks Jennifer for forgiveness for the events of 2 years ago. Jen throws her hands up in joy, glad that the situation has finally become clearer. Looking at the camera, the girl thinks that after Tom's betrayal is made public, their couple will not be able to take part in the show. Alex brings the girl coffee and notices that she looks very thoughtful. The girl wearily admits that her schedule has again moved to the end of the year. Jen thinks that after Alexa leaves the show, it makes no sense for her to continue participating either. Most likely, Alex and Jennifer will no longer be invited to film together, and there are no common events on the schedule. Each of the couple will return to their own lives. They will no longer flaunt their relationship, and gradually interest in each other will fade away, and the divorce will not cause unnecessary noise. The husband presses his wife's forehead and asks if she has a cold after last night, although she doesn't seem to have a fever. Miller explains that the girl has enough money and a good reputation, so she can easily afford to choose. Jen listens to her husband's words and says that she really can stop torturing herself and rest. The girl is trying to convince herself that she is not upset because she does not want to part with Alex. The teacher explains that in the context of the song, Jen should play a young girl with a shy expression on her face. After a couple of hours of training, the girl sits exhausted on the floor. On the set, the director says that everyone did a good job and announces a short break. A message arrives from my wife, in which she writes that she wants to show something, but no one should see it. Jen receives an answer that her husband would not mind her pampering him. Angry with Alex, Jennifer decides to send the video to John. He, as a brother, will not see any indecent hint. John receives a video from his sister and watches her dance rehearsal with interest. The guy receives a message from his sister that no one should see the dance ahead of time, and at that moment, an assistant enters the room. The guy asks with interest whose video John just watched. The guy admits that he watched a video with Jennifer. The assistant remarks with a grin that the guy must be her fan. In the evening, Alex receives a message that his sister sent him a video, but he cannot withstand this torture alone, so he forwards it to his son-in-law. In the morning, Jen learns from the news that the eliminated couple Young will be replaced on the show by Kelly Smith and her boyfriend. Suddenly, the girl sees strange comments with hints that she is cheating on Alex. Miller gets out of the shower and asks his wife what interesting things are being written online. Jen gives Alex the phone and asks him to do something, which starts a new wave of rumors because Kelly is going on the show. Kira watches Jen's preparations with delight and declares that it turns out incredibly beautiful. Jennifer carefully examines herself in the mirror, and her assistant suggests taking a selfie and posting it. The girl says that she had difficulty persuading the director not to include her image in the cut, and Kira now offers to ruin the whole surprise. Kelly comes into the dressing room and asks if Jennifer is ready to go out. Smith sits in the next chair and wonders if Mr. Miller will come to the shoot today. The girl reports that many viewers hoped to see Alex while his wife was dancing to a love song. Jennifer is relieved that Alex will not be on the set and he will not see her shame. Kelly sweetly asks if a caring husband isn't obligated to support his wife, even despite a busy schedule. Jen states that Kelly talks too much and it's a good thing Miller won't be here today. Kelly looks after Jen irritably, not understanding why she could be so happy. Standing on stage, Jennifer calms herself down and thinks that she can dance to earn money. Covering himself with a cap so as not to be recognized, Alex quietly enters the hall. Jennifer is completely relaxed and really enjoying her act. Miller listens to the words of the song and looks with pleasure at his wife on stage. A line of the song sounds about being caught by surprise, and at that moment, Jennifer notices Alex in the hall. Sometime before the broadcast, Miller admits to the operator that he is looking forward to his wife's unexpected appearance on the set. The cameraman asks if the guy is worried that his wife will be surrounded by young and energetic guys. Alex tactfully replies that with the exception of age, he still has more advantages. The cameraman notices that some of the participants are the same age as the actor, so maybe he should try his hand at dancing. Alex looks thoughtfully out the window and replies that, in his opinion, the format of this show is not suitable for either him or his wife. Arriving at the studio, the operator advises Alex to hurry up because they have wasted a lot of time in traffic jams. Having finished the dance, Jennifer falls exhausted on the floor, and the audience chants her name. Suddenly, Kelly approaches Alex with a microphone and joyfully invites the audience to look at the one who honored them with his presence. Miss Smith invites Miller to come up on stage and help his wife up. Alex goes up on stage and extends his hand to his wife to help her get up after such an incendiary dance. Entering the house, Miller hears from the assistant director that thanks to him, today's program made a splash. The guy washes his face with cold water and remembers what happened at the show. Kelly goes up on stage to join the couple and asks Alex's opinion about his wife's dance. Miller admits that the dance is very cute and the song is beautiful and catchy. Smith laughs happily and says it's her band's song, and Alex says the dance is cuter. Jennifer stands nearby silently, but her cheeks are red with embarrassment. Looking at his wet hand, Miller thinks that he does not want to show his wife that he is losing control of his emotions. Backstage, Jennifer is asked if she was surprised by Alex's sudden appearance on set. The girl notes in frustration that they couldn't do this to her just for the sake of such an effect. Jen fans herself with her hand and declares that she will never dance in this style again, and in general, she has had enough of dancing. The girl says that Miller is a good actor and can fool anyone, but he probably had a good laugh at the dance. Approaching the door of the house, Jennifer is confused and wonders how she will now be able to look Alex in the eyes. Miller, noticing his wife, approaches the balcony, but she abruptly closes the door in his face. The guy knocks on the glass and says that they need to talk. The girl angrily declares that they have nothing to talk about. Her husband conspired with the program and made her lose face in front of everyone. Alex sighs heavily and says that if his wife wants it that way, he will leave. But suddenly, Miller turns around and jerks open the door, finding himself right in front of his wife. Alex presses the girl against the railing, and she, frightened, asks if he is going to throw her off the balcony. Alex declares that Jen is just a fool and gently presses her lips to hers. The director shouts in rage that he will fire those who did not put cameras on the balcony. Jennifer abruptly pulls away from her husband and says that they are under cameras. The girl fans herself and declares that it doesn't seem like summer yet, but it's already terribly hot. The director thoughtfully says that there was hardly a quarrel on the balcony. Jennifer is an experienced participant in the show and will do everything to achieve the desired effect. Looking at the screens, the man thinks that they might have missed very important shots. In the evening, an installer comes to the couple and asks for forgiveness for the intrusion, but he needs to install cameras on the balcony. Alex puts his things away, and his wife comes up to him and says that he must apologize to the front. The guy looks at his wife in bewilderment and wonders what he should apologize for. Jen states that if there were cameras on the balcony, Alex's barbaric attempts would have been broadcast. The guy hovers over his wife and wonders how this could affect her reputation. Jen understands that she was driven into a dead end. In truth, nothing special happened. Alex asks if Jen asked for forgiveness from her film partners with whom she had to kiss. The wife states that this is not the same thing. The husband is taking advantage of her and must apologize. Realizing that it is better not to argue, Miller asks for forgiveness for his behavior on the balcony. The embarrassed girl nods and says that she needs to go to the bathroom. Alex grabs his wife, sits her on the sofa, and declares that she will go when he finishes apologizing. Miller explains that in this case, he must also apologize for the events of 2 years ago, when they got very drunk. Jennifer, in despair, covers her husband's mouth with her hands. She has no desire at all to remember those events. 2 years ago, at a reception, the couple had a lot to drink, and when they got home, Jen was indignant that there wasn't even juice at the reception. Alex could not control his desires and began kissing the girl with all passion. Jen continues to cover the guy's mouth and asks him to shut up and not apologize anymore. Alex removes his wife's hands and asks with a grin if she forgives him. Jen states that her husband is very impudent and wonders what will happen if she does not forgive him. The director tells the assistant to inform Alex and Jennifer that the next filming will take place in another city. Jen stands in front of the closet and reflects that she needs to take a lot of clothes with her for the trip. Alex snuggles up to his wife and asks what she thinks he needs to take with him. The girl confidently begins to point to various items of clothing. Miller agrees and is about to leave, but his wife stops him and says that now he must help her. After a couple of hours of demonstrating various outfits, Alex assures that everything suits the girl. Jen is about to leave, but Alex stops her and says that she can safely change clothes in front of him. An hour later, wrapped in a blanket, Jen asks what she should take with her from what was demonstrated. Miller thoughtfully says that he really liked the outfit his wife wore to the dance. Jen thinks she looked about 16 in that outfit, but other than that, she looked cool. The girl jumps up joyfully and says that she danced great, and in general, dancing is a breeze for her and she needs to do it more often. Seeing the skepticism on her husband's face, Jen asks what kind of dancing her husband likes. Miller leans over to his wife and confidently says that he would love to watch her perform a striptease. The operator asks why Mrs. Brown looks so happy. The girl replies that she is watching the trailer for the program. The camera turns to Alex, and he is asked what thoughts his wife's beautiful dance evoked. Miller says with a laugh that he's a little offended because when he asked his wife to dance for him again, she refused. Jen turns to her husband and irritably says that he asked her to dance a strip, but without finishing, the girl abruptly falls silent. The entire crew looks at Jen with interest, waiting for the continuation. The star admits that she made a mistake. Her husband only asked her to do a dance with a mop. The director happily declares that nothing needs to be cut, and the new trailer will begin with this phrase. At the hotel, Jen checks the news and realizes that her stupid slip wasn't cut. The girl throws away the phone in irritation, realizing that she set herself up. On the way to the studio, Jennifer wonders if she'll ever have a proper reason to be in the hot seat. The couple walks through a crowd of fans who ask what Alex thinks about dancing with a mop. Miller hugs his wife and declares that this is their personal secret. The directors say that today's episode is dedicated to the beauty of the city. Each pair of participants must split up and use walkie-talkies to describe everything they see around them in order to find each other. Alex is brought to some point in the city and allowed to remove the blindfold. Jennifer speaks into the walkie-talkie that she is next to a kiosk of curly candies, and a rice shop is visible nearby. Moving further, the girl reports that she is in a shopping center. Miller replies that he is already near the shopping center and asks where exactly his wife is. The girl replies that she is on the 4th floor. Walking through the crowd of fans, Alex notices that there are a lot of people around and wonders if Jen has been recognized yet. The girl assures that she has her own methods and, worried about her husband, tells him not to get up, but to wait for her outside. Miller is surrounded by a dense crowd of fans who shout his name and ask for his autograph. The guy understands that it will be very difficult to get out. Suddenly, Alex hears a familiar voice and looks around in search of Jennifer. But instead of his wife, Miller sees a huge, tall fox rushing towards him, pushing everyone around. The fox grabs the perplexed guy by the hand and deftly and quickly pulls him out of the crowd of fans. Running into the parking lot, the figure takes off his huge head, and Jennifer happily reports that they have found each other. Half an hour ago, a girl stopped next to her husband's advertising banner and said into the walkie-talkie that she was in a shopping center. Noticing the life-size doll of a fox, Jennifer instantly came up with a plan to avoid attracting attention to herself. The director in the control room excitedly says that the center administration was not warned in advance, so problems may arise. The cameraman notices that Jennifer is taking a photo with one of the administration employees. The man, confused, tells the director that Mrs. Brown approached an employee and borrowed a full-length suit. The director replies that since no one recognizes the girl, everything is fine, and it will be good for the show. Jen stops at her image and thinks about why she spends so much money on beauty salons if she already looks great. Returning to the Alex banner, Jen sighs and notes that he looks much better. Suddenly, the girl realizes that her husband has no experience in such shows and decides to warn him about the danger, but only interference is heard on the radio. Going out onto the balcony, Brown notices with alarm that Alex has already been spotted, and the crowd of fans is growing larger. Jen decisively rushes into the crowd, trying to get Miller's attention. The couple is standing in the parking lot, and the girl laughingly tells her husband how she ended up in a fox costume. The husband wipes the sweat from his wife's face and notes with alarm that in such a suit in the heat she could get heat stroke. Alex says with dissatisfaction that nothing is visible in the suit, and Jen could easily fall. The girl says upset that she just wanted to help her husband get out of the crowd. Miller apologizes, and Jen says that it is her own fault for not warning the guy about possible problems. Alex sighs heavily and says that he is the reason his wife and the show are in trouble. Smiling happily, Jennifer states that she saved Miller and he could thank her. The husband hugs his wife and declares that she is a little superhero fox. The couple apologizes to the mall manager for the inconvenience, but the man says he's glad nothing happened to them. The man shakes Alex's hand and remarks that this is good advertising for the center, and in gratitude, he will give the couple 2 suits. Once out of the center, Jen struggles to catch her breath as the host congratulates the couple on moving on to the next task. Young people need to draw lots in order to determine the transport on which they will go to dinner. Jen invites Alex to draw lots because she has never had any luck in drawings. Looking at the 3-wheeled carriage, the couple arrives in slight bewilderment. Suddenly, Jennifer raises her hand and declares that she has a great idea. People on the street are looking with interest at a pair of foxes on a 3-wheeled cart. Jen pats Miller on the back and declares that now no one will be able to recognize them. Meanwhile, Traffic Inspector Tang starts a live broadcast to identify traffic violators. A policeman notices a pair of foxes on a cart and declares that the first intruders have already been found. Tan runs to get the bicycle, saying that riding in the back of a cart is very dangerous and it is necessary to have a conversation with the violators. Jennifer clings to her husband anxiously, and Alex realizes that they seem to have new problems.